How's it going, Lisa Bruce? I'm Bobby Sixkilla and welcome back to Quantum Suicide. Now, in the last episode, we had our first elimination since we've been on board, at least, and it was horrifying. Probably the worst, the worst execution I've been privy to in any killing game. Similar to shit, I forgot your name. The main character from 99, or the oh my god. The mastermind from 999, whose name I've forgotten. Started with an A. Anyway, let's just carry on, shall we? The sunken eyes and pale skin portraying their psychological distress, and then there was Shizuka, who just looked hungry. As I looked around, I noticed all 8 crew members, aside from myself, were already here, including an understandably devastated Melody. Even I was present. Had I arrived late? I'm so sorry I'm late.
You aren't late. In fact, you're early.
The captain's stern exterior was broken ever so slightly with a small smirk on the left side of her face, as she said I were early. She stood before me for a moment longer before swiveling on the spot to take a head count, looking around, giving small nods to indicate she was counting everyone as present in her head.
Everyone arrived early today.
I could hear the concern in her voice. I stood in the corner, quietly making eye contact with the ground.
Alright, well, let's get started.
The room didn't make a sound.
Last night was quite unpleasant, and
Yeah.
it's unfortunate.
Unpleasant? Really? Were you watching the same execution we were?
Oh, did you have a good time, did you, Beatrix? The captain ignored Beatrix and kept speaking.
Vladimir and Melody, losing Sora was incredibly unfortunate, and I can't begin to imagine how this must feel for you. I'm so incredibly sorry. Sora was a strong and caring woman, and will be greatly missed.
Vladimir lifted his head just to meet with Kimiko's eyes as she continued speaking. The events of the previous day had clearly pushed Vladimir to his breaking point. Cradling Melody in his arms, he attempted a weak smile.
Sora made her choice in order for all of us to live. The only reason we're all still alive right now is because of her. We should do everything in our power to stop the Deletion Game and continue the mission.
The captain is right. The 8 of us are still here. It would behoove us to try and find a way out of this mess. I'm sure that we can do it if we put our heads together.
The morale of the room was swiftly increasing. Yoshiki stood up triumphantly.
Sora wouldn't want us to be sad. She'd want us to be happy. We should all do our best.
Vladimir clung tightly to Melody before speaking.
Thank you. Thank you all.
If there is anything we can do, Vladimir, please let us know.
The captain and Vladimir exchanged fragile smiles before being interrupted.
I have something for you, Capitan.
Dai appeared next to the chair Vladimir was sitting on, bending forwards towards Kimiko while pointing to herself gleefully. Without making a sound, Melody tightened her grip around her father.
Dai, can't we have a moment without you?
Ouch, Captain. And I thought we were friends.
Really? That would have been foolish.
If you aren't going to leave, get on with it.
Well, someone's definitely not getting a Christmas card this year.
What do you want, Di?
Oh, good morning, Beatrix. I didn't see you there. Anyway, enough chit-chat. This isn't a mother's club. I'm not here for hot goss. I'm here to announce the next round of the Deletion Game.
Can't we have at least a day to mourn our dead before being forced to play another round?
You could, but
But what?
I don't want to wait. Besides, it would only make it more difficult for you all with less time to play.
I don't want to break the immersion here, but the voice actor for Dai is amazing.
Yoshiki, drum roll please.
What? Why?
Yoshiki, you enjoy living, right?
Yoshiki complied with her request, doing his best impression of a drum roll.
Welcome to the Deletion Games. Round 3, Logiship.
What? Oh, so every round is a different thing. Logiship is played with 9 players. I thought it was just going to be the make 10 thing again. Each person is represented by a ship. Okay. Each ship has 2 health points. Are you playing battleships? These ships will be placed next to each other in a row, numbered 1 from 9, left to right. No one will be told which ship belongs to which player, including their own. Oh. Fudge. Instead, you'll each receive 1 clue, 9 in total. In order to figure out where everyone's ship is located, you'll need all 9 clues. Sharing is allowed. Each person will receive 1 torpedo and will choose which ship to fire at. The first player whose ship receives 2 torpedo attacks will be eliminated. Okay. Try not to shoot yourself. Oh my god. Well, I mean, coming up with unique ways to get us all killed, I guess, so thanks for that at least, keeping it interesting.
In this game, you will each be represented by a ship with 2 health points.
Yeah, I saw that.
These ships will be placed next to each other in a row numbered 1 to 9 from left to right. Each person will receive 1 torpedo and will choose which ship to fire at, choosing a number between 1 and 9. The first player whose ship receives 2 torpedo attacks will be eliminated. Here's the kicker though, none of you will be told which ship belongs to which player, including your own. You will each receive 1 clue, 9 in total. In order to figure out where everyone's ship is located, you will need all 9 clues.
You'll each receive 1 clue, 9 in total. In order to figure out where everyone's ship is located, you'll need all 9 clues. Okay.
As was the case in the last round, sharing information will be allowed. Time to be super friendly with each other. Or not. I mean, one of you still has to die after all. It's days like this I thank science for my job. Ahem. Anyway, if you shoot blindly, you might kill yourself. Wouldn't that be hilarious?
Still only if you shoot blindly, it's still only a 1 in 9 chance of hitting yourself. It's pretty unlikely.
Mark your calendars, folks. You'll be shooting your torpedoes on Sunday between the hours of 4 p.m. and 5 p.m. It couldn't be simpler. Just enter the dining hall one at a time and fire away. After 5 p.m., I'll announce the results and weekly festivities will begin. The first player to receive 2 torpedo attacks will be declared the loser, even if more than 1 player receives 2 missile strikes. I am giving you an hour, so no excuses. Get your shots in early, okay? One last thing. In the unlikely event that every single person attacks each other exactly once, we'll have a second round. So please try to finish someone off quickly, okay? I have better things to do. So to review, you will each be represented by a ship numbered between 1 and 9 with 2 health points apiece. Each player will receive 1 missile to fire, and the first player whose ship is hit twice will be eliminated. You won't know which ship belongs to which person, but you'll each be given a clue that you're free to share with other players. Everyone got it?
Yes.
Wonderful! Now I'll provide each of you with your clue. To ensure there is no cheating, I'm going to have to ask you all to return to your quarters for now. I'll visit each one of you individually with your information. That's right, I make house calls now.
Di winked at us, mischievously poking her puffed up cheek, attempting to be cute.
Is this really necessary?
Afraid so, Captain. Just remember, as the onboard AI, I know where you are at all times. So if anyone has the bright idea to leave their quarters before I give the all clear, they'll be disqualified and face immediate elimination. All right, people, stop dawdling. Mommy Di is grounding you all for not doing your homework.
Everyone got up slowly from the table as if in a daze. The morale that was increasing moments ago was shattered as Melody's cries pierced the air. Vladimir carried her out, hugging her tightly enough that he was able to muffle most of her screams. The rest of us followed into the hallway and made our way back to our respective rooms. I arrived at my room and sat down at the end of my bed. You gotta be kidding me, Di. Sora hadn't even been dead for 24 hours, but here we go again. I had to put a stop to this as soon as possible. I only had a few minutes before Di appeared before me.
Yahoo! Sorry to keep you waiting.
I wasn't really waiting that long.
So polite. It'll really suck when I have to kill you.
Thank you?
Hey, I'm here to give you your clue, and I'm not going to repeat myself, so make sure you're listening. Melody is to the right of Beatrix, and to the left of Katashi.
Okay. Got it, thank you.
Any questions?
Why do you have to kill people?
Whoa, going for deep and meaningful questions without even buying me dinner first? You were so polite to me beforehand, so I guess I'll humor you this time. In 2099, unexpected orbital debris from a previous mission caused extensive damage to the ship. At that time, we lost a vast quantity of resources. After assessing the damage, the AI system determined that their current resources would not be able to sustain the crew through to the end of the mission.
So we go and get more, stupid.
Having confirmed this, she went ahead and informed the captain.
Then what?
Well, long story short, the captain made me, and now here we are.
Feel like you just skipped over the most important part of the story.
Sorry, honey, but you're going home from this date disappointed. Well, I'm off. A certain captain is waiting for me.
Alright, thanks, Di.
Huh? I mean, toodles!
With a childish wave, Di faded out of existence, leaving me alone in my room. At this rate, I wasn't sure how much longer I'd be able to hold on to my sanity. Now, I just had to sit there and wait for the okay from Di to be allowed to leave. I decided to lie down for a second and rest my eyes. I awoke roughly an hour later to Di's voice over the ship intercom system.
Alright, friends. I've done my rounds. All house calls are complete. You're free to go about your day as usual. Well, until Sunday, that is.
Di definitely knew how to push everyone's buttons. I really wish she'd told me more about the damage to the ship, though. Now wasn't the time to daydream. The current round of the Deletion Game had already started less than 24 hours after Sora's death. I needed to check up on a few things. Vladimir and Melody. Vladimir and Melody must be having a really hard time. I should go check up on them and see if there's anything I can do to help. I made my way down the hallways, taking a moment to admire the stars. The view of the stars from the ship's windows were absolutely beautiful, but today it felt like they were further away than usual, drifting in the cold isolation of space. Before long, I arrived at the front door of Vladimir and Melody's joint quarters. The ship had facilities to house families as well as individuals. From what I've been told, couples shared larger rooms and had room for young children, accommodating them until they were able to move into single-room accommodations. The only people in family rooms were Vladimir and Melody, and the Vogels. I pressed the intercom at the door. Hey Vladimir, it's me, Jordan, can I come in? The door beeped as it opened and I entered the room. Inside I could see Vladimir sitting on the couch and Melody seated on the floor, drawing at the coffee table.
Hey, Monkey's here!
Melody jumped up from the ground and hugged me tightly around my legs. I was quite surprised at how different she was from the Melody I've seen in the dining hall a few hours ago. Although her face still showed evidence of crying, her cheeks were full and her eyes were bright.
Children are amazing, aren't they? They're so incredibly resilient.
Vladimir was trying really hard to keep it together, but his voice broke a little at the end, as the pain from the recent loss of his wife began to seep through the cracks. Melody and I could both hear it. She immediately released me and rushed to her father.
Don't cry, Papa. Please don't be sad.
Melody climbed on top of Vladimir, doing the best she could with her small hands. She held his face with one hand and tried to wipe away his father's tears with the other.
I'm okay, sweetie. How could I be sad when I have you to cheer me up?
Vladimir forced a smile, which excited Melody. Melody began wiggling on his lap before hugging him.
Did you get your clue yet?
I did.
What's wrong?
Are you sure you want to talk about this in front of... I nodded my head in Melody's direction. I knew that if I said her name, I'd have her attention instantly.
That's very considerate of you, but this time it's going to have to happen. Unfortunately, my ability to protect her is becoming more and more limited.
Must be really hard having a young child mixed up in all this mess. I felt bad for Vladimir.
So, how about it, friend? Want to share clues? I know Sora put a lot of trust in you.
Vladimir, right?
I think trusting you and working with you is what she would have wanted.
Yeah, sure. Anything to help your child survive. I'd love to share information with you. It's the least I can do after what happened. Vladimir looked up at me from the couch, holding Melody. His eyes locked onto mine. The once fierce man was now replaced by a gentle and saddened husk, whose eyes swelled with tears as he spoke.
Thank you.
Alright, so my clue says that Melody is to the right of Beatrix, and to the left of Katashi.
Wonderful. You have information directly related to Melody's whereabouts. Mine is Kimiko is directly between a boy and a girl. Melody, sweetie, can you tell what your clue said?
Melody released Vladimir and turned to face me, still sitting on his
Dad
lap.
said that Daddy's to the left of Shizuka.
After telling me her clue, Melody snuggled back up to Vladimir.
I know that this isn't enough information to make a decision yet, but we should both do our best to collect as much as we can. I have to do whatever I can to protect Melody. Promise me that no matter what information you get, you'll never target Melody.
Sure.
I know that you should be able to get to know where at least a few people are in this round. All I ask is that you don't target Melody, if you know where Melody is.
What if I don't know?
Please, just promise me you won't do it.
I promise.
Thank you.
Vladimir looked down at Melody, snuggled up next to him, and his expression darkened with sorrow.
I just don't know what I'd do if I lost her as well.
I put a reassuring hand on Vladimir's shoulder. I ain't gonna let that happen. I'll do everything I can to save Melody.
Thank you. Well, looks like this one is asleep. I'd best put her to bed and try and get some sleep myself. Thanks for coming to see me today. I feel a bit better.
It's my pleasure. Alright, well, I best get some sleep too.
Good night.
Good night, Vladimir. I whispered a quick goodnight to Melody, trying my best not to wake her, and took my leave. Vladimir smiled as I made my way out of the room and back down the hallway towards my quarters. I was exhausted. Who knew that fretting over your life could be so tiring? When I arrived, it wasn't long before I was asleep too. Well, we got some info. Oh, what's going on? Is this a dream? I sat up in the bed holding my head. I felt as though heated metal spikes were piercing through the back of my head and just sitting behind my eyeballs, but only intermittently. It was almost as if the spikes were being removed for short periods of respite before being swiftly jammed back into my skull. I was sweating so much that the sheets were saturated with perspiration and my white sleeping shirt was almost see-through. Ugh. I tried to remain quiet, but the pain was unbearable. Even when I tried gritting my teeth, anguish cries still escaped me. Ugh.
Good morning.
I...
According to my systems, you are presenting pain symptoms. You are also emitting sounds of discomfort, and your body temperature is slightly higher than usual.
My head.
Good morning, sunshine.
Huh? What happened?
You woke me this morning after reporting that you passed out.
I passed out? What? How did I get here?
I went to your quarters, of course. When I found you unconscious in your bed, I carried you to the medical bay.
I sat up, gradually coming to my senses. The first thing I noticed, I was no longer wearing the same clothes I'd woken up in. How embarrassing. I'm so sorry.
It's fine, really.
Thank you.
I had to change you out of your clothes. You sweat through them during the night. I hope you don't mind.
No, of course not. Thank you for putting me in clean clothes.
Now, can you tell me what was happening before you passed out? I reported that you were holding your head and making sounds of distress.
I woke up suddenly from a dream, I think. But I kept seeing the dream even after I was awake, a series of images flashing through my mind. When I woke up, I was sweating and in pain. I could see images, but my head... the pain was excruciating. Wait, I remember.
Does your memory return?
I can remember everything. Nicholas moved closer to me, using a light to examine my eyes.
Everything appears normal. This is great news. My working theory so far is that the headache and flashback symptoms which restored your memory were prompted by severe stress. Understandable, considering the circumstances.
Yeah.
These images that were flashing, did you recognize anything? What is it? What's wrong?
My parents.
What do you remember?
Nicholas looked at me concerned, but his face began to blur as my eyes filled with tears. They're both... Nicholas's face dropped when he realized how I was going to end the sentence.
I'm so sorry.
Ah. Suddenly the pain returned to my head. I could see my parents clearly. I remembered the last moment I saw them. They turned off my oxygen.
They what? Your parents?
Ah. I woke up in the medical bay again. I looked around to see that no one was currently in the room besides me. I was alone. I had to remember almost everything from before my time on the Everett. My head still hurt, but it had lessened to a dull throbbing now, a significant improvement over the piercing pain from before. For now, at least, the pain was bearable. I needed to talk to someone about this. I should go talk to... Let's go back to Vladimir. I should speak to the man who knew my parents personally. I made my way quietly out of the medical bay and headed towards Vladimir and Melody's room. When I reached the room, I pressed the intercom to be let in. Vladimir immediately opened the door.
You don't look so good. Are you okay?
I started remembering things about my parents.
Don't you think you should get dressed before you wander around the ship? Ha 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 ha.
I forgot I was still in the change of clothes I was put in after I collapsed. I guess a singlet, top, and shorts aren't commonplace on a military ship. Vladimir's laugh attracted the attention of a younger, more cynical audience.
Where are your clothes?
I lost them.
Papa gets angry if I try to just take my clothes off.
I'm sorry to hear that. Well, you should keep your clothes on. I lost mine and I miss them a lot.
Do you want me to help you find them?
Well, thanks for the offering, Melody, but I think I'm just going to talk to your father for a moment.
How rude of me. Please, come in.
I made my way into Vladimir and Melody's room and sat down slowly on the couch. The pain in my head, although bearable, still made it hard to concentrate.
So, your parents?
Yes, I remember their research. I remember their theories. I remember their... I suddenly had trouble swallowing. My chest felt heavy, like someone was sitting on it, and every breath was difficult.
Your parents were remarkable scientists. Even though they were physicists, and I had a background in genetics, they were able to run rings around me, even in my own field. It was almost infuriating how good they were.
They're dead.
I'm sorry.
But their theory might not be.
What?
I remember everything now, my whole life. I was taught everything they knew, all of their research.
Wait, is that possible?
I'm not 100% sure. All I remember is that my parents came up with multiple theories while I was growing up, and they were never able to test them because of the limited equipment aboard the shuttle. Maybe if I tried to continue their work...
The many worlds theory.
Yeah. Vladimir's solemn expression suddenly changed into a look of pure happiness. He jumped off the couch excitedly.
I knew those crazy bastards were onto something.
I said I wasn't 100% sure.
I don't need 100%. I need only 1%.
Huh?
Sora always said, hope is the golden thread that should be woven into every experience of life.
I'm still not following.
1%. 100%. All I need is hope to keep going. I almost feel like a new man. Thank you. Thank you.
Vladimir grabbed Melody and started spinning her around the room. Melody was laughing heartily.
Oh, sorry, sweetie.
Is it bedtime yet?
Ah, yes, of course. Sorry. But if you could excuse us, it's past Melody's bedtime.
Of course.
Thanks.
Good night, Jordan. Where did her voice actor go? Good night, Melody. Good night, Vladimir. I left their room and headed back to my quarters, rubbing my still throbbing head. Perhaps a good night's sleep would see it ease up a bit. I arrived at my quarters to find Nicholas standing outside my door.
Ah, there's my patient.
I ran away. Sorry, Nicholas, I was
It's
just...
fine, but I need you to return to the medical bay for overnight observation.
Lame. I'm fine now, really.
This isn't so much a request as it is an order, so get moving.
Nicholas inclined his head down the hallway in the direction of the medical bay, signaling it was time to go.
Come on. I don't wish to spend my evening observing you in the hallway. I need to sleep as well.
Okay, I'm coming. I could see that Nicholas wasn't going to take no for an answer. I did still have a headache. Perhaps it would be best if I returned to the medical bay after all. Once I got back to the medical bay, I got into one of those beds and was asleep before I knew it. When I awoke, I was relieved to find that I no longer had a headache. I could think clearly. Maybe all I needed was a good night's sleep. If yesterday had taught me anything, it was that getting one's memory back was a painful ordeal. It was far too much information to process at once. I materialized before me.
Good morning. How can I help you?
My parents, did they have a workplace on the Everett?
Yes, of course.
Is it accessible?
Yes,
Could you show me where it is?
certainly. Please follow me.
I turned to walk out of the medical bay. As she crossed the threshold, her form flickered momentarily as she transitioned to the hallway hollow interface. I quickly gathered myself and followed her.
Here we are.
Thank you, I.
You're welcome. I shall alert the captain of your movements.
Is that necessary?
I am afraid so. She has requested full reports on your activities aboard the ship.
I guess she'd still be concerned about me.
Indeed. I will go and report to the captain now. Have a good day.
Thanks, I stepped into the science lab. Whoa! No wonder my parents always spoke so fondly of these facilities. Before me lay a fully stocked and well-equipped laboratory. I began sifting through the various papers contained in the drawers, looking for any of my parents' work.
Good morning, comrade.
Vladimir appeared in the doorway of the lab.
Have you come to join me for a day in the lab?
It's been a long time since I shared this lab with anyone. Oh, good morning, Vladimir.
I see you looking for something. Can I help?
I'm looking for my parents' work. I was hoping I could continue it where they left off.
I feel like a child waking up on Christmas morning.
What could their work possibly entail? I'm getting giddy just thinking about it. Huh?
Every day is Christmas if you're a scientist.
You're an interesting one, Vladimir.
I stored all of their current work when they left. Your parents weren't the tidiest people. My late first wife, Amanda, used to be a researcher here. She'd always give them hell for leaving their papers, coffee, or even their clothing lying around the lab. I remember one night she was so angry because she found someone's shoe in one of the lab's freezers.
Nice. A shoe? Only one?
Yeah, just one. You sound just like Amanda.
Why was it in the freezer?
That remains a mystery to this day. When your parents were engrossed in their work, the real world must have seemed optional to them. Amanda changed more of your nappies than your parents did when they were here.
Seriously?
Yeah. Amanda would find you in the lab hungry or in need of bathing. Your parents loved you, but they loved teaching you. They usually had to be reminded to eat themselves, so it wasn't strange for them to forget about you.
Wow, thanks, parents.
Ah, here it is.
Was that their research? Vladimir pulled out a box and placed it on the bench.
In here you'll find both their tablets as well as their research documents. Paper may be a rare luxury now, but when the mission first started, your mother refused to board unless she could bring hard copies of her work. I miss your parents. They were always fun to have around. I have to go get Melody up and get her some breakfast. It's good to have some company again in the lab. See you later.
Vladimir left the lab and I started sifting through the box he left on the bench. There were so many papers. Clearly my mother was a serious believer in hard copies. It took minutes before I could get to the bottom of the box. As I reached down, my hand made contact with a solid object with rounded edges. Huh? A pocket watch? This particular timepiece didn't look like a normal pocket watch though. For instance, there was a number of components displaying additional information that didn't correspond to any familiar units of time measurement. Maybe this timepiece was some kind of old keepsake my parents brought with them from Earth. I decided to sift through the assorted papers on top to see if I could find any information on this watch. There was so much information I couldn't determine what would be useful at a glance. This is going to take some time to read through. Why was there a pocket watch in the box? It seems so out of place. For a few hours I sifted through more of the papers. In the end, I didn't manage to find anything helpful. I still have no idea what this is, let alone why my parents would hold on to it. Maybe I need to come back to this with fresh eyes at a later time. The longer I studied the notes, the more impenetrable their riddles seemed to become. I'd also discovered that my mother didn't have the neatest handwriting. For the time being, I decided to slide the unusual watch into my pocket for safekeeping. The deletion game was still in motion, and I had to speak to the rest of the crew while I had the chance. If I failed to gather the various clues I needed to decipher Dai's logic puzzle, I would be placing myself at a severe disadvantage when choosing which ship to shoot. Where should I go next? Let's go Eco Lounge. I headed out to the Eco Lounge where I knew Katashi spent most of his time. When I arrived at the Eco Lounge, however, Katashi was nowhere to be seen. I pulled out my tablet and again to check his whereabouts. Oh, he's moved on to the farm area. I walked through the Eco Lounge and entered the adjacent farming and livestock area. Cresting the hill delineated the outer boundary of the Eco Lounge. I got my first good look at the farming section. Would you like some help, Katashi?
Oh, hello there. You certainly seem lively today.
I'm feeling quite good, actually. Regardless of our situation, I've got all my memories back. I think. So I'm quite pleased about that.
Oh, really? That's great to hear. So, have you remembered if you're the evil mastermind behind this sick game yet?
Unfortunately not. If that were the case, I would feel a lot safer right now.
Damn. And here I thought I might be able to score a favor from the mastermind himself.
I'm certainly willing to try my hand at farming, although I'm not sure how helpful I'll be.
Should I play my cards safe and suck up to you? Or risk sentencing myself to death by putting you to work? I choose... death!
With a hearty laugh, Katashi handed me a shovel.
That's enough standing around being pretty for one day. It's time for us to finish this cycle of planting.
I'm here to help, after all.
Now's your chance to show me what you're made of.
I took the proffered shovel from
Could you
Katashi.
please extend this trench here? While you're busy doing that, I'll go get our new seedlings.
Of course. Satisfied with my reply, Katashi left me to my task and headed off towards one of the sheds in the farming area. Rolling up my sleeves, I raised my shovel and drove it down toward the dirt. Nothing happened. To my amazement, I discovered I'd hardly scratched the surface. How did Katashi make it look so easy? I hit the ground again. Nothing, huh? What's your problem, Slow? You don't want to be trenched? Beginning to lose my temper, I struck the ground again. Still nothing. I leaned down and examined the soil more closely. It seemed I could move it around much more easily by hand, albeit much slower than I'd seen Katashi move it with the shovel.
What are you doing?
Well, the soil is...
I keep forgetting that you've probably never used a shovel in your life. Have you used a shovel before?
No, I haven't.
Would you like some help?
Yes, please. Apparently I'm quite useless at this.
Here, let me help you.
Katashi came towards me and took the shovel out of my hand before moving around behind me.
You need to put the tip of the shovel to the ground, and then, using your weight, break the top part of the soil. Blindly hitting it usually won't result in very good digging.
I could feel Katashi's body press firmly against mine as he guided my arms to dig. It worked.
Yep, digging isn't rocket science.
I dug a hole.
Yep, now you just have to finish the rest of the trench.
I could do anything. Because I can use a shovel.
Your enthusiasm is quite refreshing.
Now that I actually knew what I was doing, I started digging the trench at a much faster rate than before. Behind me, Katashi busied himself with planting new seeds. What are you planting?
Cucumber. It's my favorite vegetable, actually. They have a very fresh, neutral taste that pairs well with other vegetables.
It's also not a vegetable, it's a fruit, but, carry on. I don't think I've ever had a cucumber.
Don't worry. Once these come in, you can have first pick.
Really?
You worked hard to plant them. It's only fair. Let's go and cool off in the Eco Lounge.
Okay. We arrived at the Eco Lounge's hill, and I was quick to lie down on the grass. If my first-hand experience working on the farm had taught me anything, it was that tilling a field was extremely tiring. Katashi sat down next to me.
All kidding aside, thanks for giving me a hand. I don't usually get much help around here. Yoshiki shows up from time to time, but he always has an ulterior motive. Food.
No worries. As hard as it was, I think I enjoyed it.
You think?
I'll update you on my progress tomorrow, depending how I feel after my labor-intensive day.
Good answer.
After a few moments spent in pleasant silence, Katashi cleared his throat and abruptly changed topics.
It's good that you came here, actually. I was hoping you'd be willing to share your clue with me.
Well, we paired up last time, you didn't fuck me over, so sure. Sure, I'm actually looking for more information myself.
Awesome. I'd really appreciate it.
My clue says that Melody is to the right of Beatrix and to the left of you. Oh yeah, that's right, Katashi.
That's awesome that you have some info on me.
Yeah, I hope it helps.
My clue says that Nicholas is directly between two boys.
I'm gonna write that all down, like usual. Got it, thanks. Katashi stood and dusted himself off.
Well, let's get back to work. Patrice isn't going to feed herself.
Patrice?
One of our chickens. She's quite affectionate. For a chicken.
Do I get to meet her today?
Well, she's not going to feed herself now, is she?
I guess not.
One thing's for sure. You couldn't possibly be any worse at feeding animals than you were at planting crops.
Ouch. I shot Katashi an angry glare. By way of apology, Katashi offered me a hand up off the ground. Our break concluded and we headed back to the farm area. Over the next few hours, I helped Katashi take care of the animals. Who knew the ship had so many on board? We had chickens, sheep, and cows, some of which had rather unusual names. One particular noisy sheep went by Sir Baralot. He named these animals anyway. After Katashi and I finished our work, we made our way over to the nearby farm shed to put away the tools.
Thanks for all your hard work today.
Glad I could help. Katashi consulted his watch.
Whoa, it's getting late. You should go get some sleep, champ.
I will. Good night, Katashi.
Sweet dreams.
As I headed back toward my quarters, my muscles were already beginning to feel sore from all the farm work. Growing up on the shuttle, I'd never had to perform such labor-intensive activities, so it came as quite a shock to my system. Once I finally arrived at my room, I was fast asleep as soon as my head hit the pillow.
Please wake up.
At least we'll get a proper night's sleep for once. Except if someone wakes us up.
I'm sorry to bother you, but I need you to wake up now.
Huh? What is it,
I am here to report my findings regarding Dai.
When I heard those words, I sat up immediately in bed. I quickly rubbed my eyes in an attempt to wake myself as soon as possible. What have you found?
I am here to report on 3 matters I have uncovered.
That's wonderful. Please go ahead.
I have confirmed that there is a connection between my processing capacity and Dai obtaining control. As a program, I am able to handle a large number of system processes at once. At times, however, I become burdened with too many at once, which allows other operating programs to take over.
I'm a bit lost here, sorry.
A metaphor would be best here. One moment.
I's face went blank as she took a moment to gather her thoughts.
Imagine the onboard computer as if it were a football pitch. I am the goalkeeper, and the processes I am required to undertake are balls. In this metaphor, I have the human equivalent of 2 arms and 2 legs.
Okay, so far so good.
I can handle many balls kicked in my direction, and I can prevent any from going in the goal. However, Dai is always waiting for moments when I have my hands full in order to take control of the goal.
Can't you simply perform fewer system processes at once?
On paper, that is a valid idea. On top of the numerous system processes required to keeping the ship functioning, Dai is constantly creating Trojan malware that tries to overload my processing, allowing her to take control.
Is that why she can't remain in control permanently?
I believe so. Once I am able to deal with the excessive processes, I can attempt to recover control.
Why does she have so much control when she's hosting the weekly Deletion Games?
My synthetic emotional response program.
What? How does that impact this?
The program that allows me to experience human emotions is not optional, and there is no way for me to override this, considering the potentially dangerous repercussions if AI technologies, such as myself, were allowed to function on math and logic alone. However, this function requires a significant amount of processing power, and just like humans, when emotions run high, so does the processing power. The Deletion Game drives my processing to its limits, and with no way for me to override my emotional response program, Dai is granted extended periods of control.
That's horrible.
Indeed. Most of the time, I don't actually regain control by the end of the execution. She simply relinquishes control to me once she is done.
Really?
I'm afraid so. This was the case during both rounds that she has run so far. At any rate.
At the very least, we now have a better understanding of how she's gaining control. That's definitely a step in the right direction. What else did you find out?
She is unable to hear or see what I am doing. However, there may be particular triggers that allow her to seize control to see what's happening.
Like a search function.
That is correct.
So she doesn't know that we're currently talking.
That is also correct. In general, she cannot hear or see while I am in control. I have no such restrictions. However, since I am the master program, I can see and hear everything she does while she is in control.
I'm so sorry, I can't even imagine how awful it must be, seeing and hearing everything from the perspective of the executioner while being completely powerless to stop it.
There is nothing that can be done at this point.
And what was the last thing?
This is the most significant piece of information I have. There is a way to disable Dai's programming.
What, really?
Yes.
How did you find out?
I reviewed the footage and files from the moment Dai's programming was first created. It took me some time to locate the files. Dai did a good job concealing them. As it turned out, the reason I was having difficulty finding them was because Dai has actually been a part of my programming for the past 15 years. Originally, I had focused my efforts on when you first arrived, but that was simply the trigger that activated it, not the moment she was created.
So what do I need to do to disable Dai?
You simply need to put in the deactivation code.
Wonderful, what is it?
I do not know, although I could access the files from when Dai was created, where she has lain dormant all these years. She has purposely made the deactivation code unavailable for me to access.
Who set the deactivation code?
Captain Yukimori.
Kimiko? Great, that means we can go ask her for the code.
Unfortunately, I was
Her
not
father?
talking about our
Mother.
current captain. I was referring to Kimiko's late mother, Captain Ayumu Yukimori.
So that means the captain's mother created Dai?
That is correct.
Does the rest of the crew know this?
They do not. I decided to report my findings to you first since you were the one who initially requested this information.
You should probably avoid telling the crew that the captain's mother created Dai, as it would only cause tension among the crew. That said, we should definitely tell the crew we found a way to deactivate Dai, even if we don't know the code just yet.
While I understand your concern, this decision will need to be made by the captain.
She won't want them to know. That makes sense. I must have heard the concern in my voice.
Why would it be problematic to inform the captain?
Well, if her mother created Dai, I can't imagine it'd be easy for her to hear. I'm sure she'll take it really hard.
While your concerns are noted, the captain has proven in the past that she's able to face difficult situations without wavering in her ability to lead.
What kind of situation are you referring to?
I have been given strict orders not to describe these events in detail. If you require further information, I suggest you direct your inquiries to the captain herself. Now, if you will excuse me, I must inform the captain of my findings. Please keep them to yourself until the captain has specific instructions for how this information should be distributed.
I bowed and left my quarters. I was curious about Ai's comment regarding the captain's past experience with similar situations. For now though, I've had it best to leave it at that. I'd ask the current Captain Yukimori to fill me in at a later time. Right now I need to decide who I was going to spend time with today. Okay, well with that we're going to wrap this one up here. And in the next one, we're going to figure out who we're going to hang with. And I really want to hang with Melody, but I already have her clue. I don't have Beatrix's clue, although she's a liar anyway. So who knows. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one.